Today we will build the React Native example app for your Omi device. This video is intended for intermediate to advanced developers. You should be familiar with Docker and be comfortable with the command line. Before we get started, make sure you have the following dependencies installed on your host system: Docker, Git, make, and unzip. You'll also need an expo.dev account and, optionally, a deepgram API key to test the example app. A written version of this tutorial, along with helpful links and other relevant resources, is included in a Github repository linked in the description. Alright, and now we're going to pull the image with Docker pull. The reason I chose to use Docker for this is because getting the Android development environment set up is just a real pain. There's a lot of environment variables and Java and the actual Android SDK itself that I'm on NixOS, and between the complications of getting that set up and trying to do it the Nix way, I just decided to use Docker and have it neatly contained and portable. So this build is going to take quite a while. The image is about 4 gigs, and so you're going to have to wait. Mine took about 6 minutes. And then we're going to create a Docker volume for Expo data. That's going to store our authentication because EAS requires that you log into your expo.dev account. And that will just help us store that information so we don't have to enter it every time we want to perform a build. Next, we're going to get bundle tool set up. So we're going to clone this GitHub repository where I just Dockerized bundle tool again, change directory into that directory, and then we'll build the image, supplying the version of bundle tool that we want to use. In this case, the latest version, 1.18.2. And then just a quick check to make sure that it's functioning as intended. Now that we have our build tool set up, we're just going to clone the official Omi repository. And this is another one that might take a couple of minutes. It's pretty large. And then once that's finished, we have a couple of changes to make. Just the example code was written a while back, and we just need to make a couple of updates to make it work with EAS and the way that we're building it. So we're going to go ahead and change into that directory that contains the example app, and we're going to add the Android directory to the gitignore file, just a little quirk of EAS. Then we'll go inside package.json, go up to the omi-react-native dependency. That's actually stored in the directory above the example app, but since we're building this within Docker, we're going to have to pull it from npm instead. And then we'll go down to the React Native dependency and update that to version 0.73.6. And just write those changes out. And then we will install the project dependencies with npm install. Mine will complete pretty quickly since I have these packages cached from building on it in the past, but yours may take a couple of minutes to download and get everything set up. Okay, so that's all finished now. Next up, we're going to initialize the Expo project, and this will actually create the new project on your expo.dev account. And set up the necessary files in here. So you'll be prompted to create a project, just say yes to that. It will link to the project in the app.json as well. And then next comes the actual build. So this is just going to get started here. We'll go through the routine checks. I have some environment variables set there to kind of tweak things. Like, for instance, I'm not using a version control system here, but just go ahead and generate the new Android key store when prompted. We're going to need that later to generate the signed APK that you can actually install on your Android phone. So this process actually does take quite a while. I find most of my builds, depending on what else I'm doing on my computer, take about 8 to 10 minutes. So we'll just kind of speed through that. And the first build may actually take longer because it has to download the Android SDK inside the container. So it will do that the first time and then cache it, and the following builds should be quicker. Okay, so it looks like our build was successful. Our build has finished. Now we're left with a build.aab or Android app bundle file. To convert that, we first need to copy it to the bundle tool directory that we set up earlier. So just go ahead and copy that build.aab file, and then we will change into that directory. And I'm just going to make it easy for myself later on, I'm going to rename that file to something a little bit more easy to remember, like example.aab. All right, so in your browser, navigate to expo.dev and go ahead and just log in. Then navigate to the project we just created, omi-react-native-example. Click on that. And then in the sidebar under project settings, go to credentials. Click on the app identifier for our Android app here. And then right over here, click on the little dots and then download the credentials. So as you can see, I've downloaded the credentials.zip, and I'm just going to go ahead and unzip those, which will leave us with two files, the .jks file, which is the Android key store, and the markdown file there, which contains the credentials for that key store. And so first things first, we're going to move the key store file. The make file is expecting it to be named keystore.back.jks. So we're just going to go ahead and move that. And then we're going to create the .env file, which will store the environment variables in. Those are the credentials that will need to be used with the key store file by bundle tool to sign the APK. So we're going to go ahead and open that markdown file. And you'll see under the credential values heading, we have our key store password, key alias, and key passwords there. And we'll just go ahead and copy those over and close out of this file. And then we'll get into our .env file and paste those. And then these labels need to be changed so that to fit the format of the environment variables here. So we'll just change those to key store pass, key store key alias, and key pass environment variables respectively, and write those changes. Now, as you can see, we have our .env file, the example.aab file, that was our build output from earlier, and the keystore.back.jks file. And those are all the prerequisites that we need to run our make file, which will take our app bundle and convert it into a signed APK for us to install. So we'll do that with make example.apk and make clean just to clean up some of the build artifacts there. And now, as you can see, we have our signed example.apk file that we can install and use on an Android device. I went ahead and transferred the signed APK over to my Android device and installed the app. And so this is the screen that we're greeted with. And so first we need to establish a Bluetooth connection with the Omi device. So I have my dev kit 2 around my neck. I'm just going to turn that on right now. You'll hear the tone. Okay. And now I will scan for the device and connect to the Omi dev kit. And so with this device connected, we now have the rest of the device functions available. We can get the audio codec, which of course is Opus. We can get the battery level. Mine's pretty low, I'm charging it right now. And we can start the audio listener. And this confirms for us that the audio packets are being received from the device on our phone here. And we also have the option to test the deepgram transcription by checking this checkbox here. And then I have my API key copied, so I'll just paste that in and press start transcription. I think I have to start the audio listener first. All right, so now if I just continue talking for a moment, there we go. The transcription is coming up, which means that the audio bytes are being streamed to deepgram and we're getting the real-time transcript. So Thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and let me know if you'd like me to make more of these. Next time I plan on taking out the deepgram connection from the example app and hooking it up to a simple Python backend. So if that sounds like something you'd like to see, let me know.